What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I have two announcements to make. One, we're going to be talking about the Social Security Fairness Act. We have some updated information about the president and why he hasn't signed this bill yet. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then the second announcement that I want to make is it's my birthday today. So if you guys would like, you can send me birthday wishes in the comments. I really appreciate it. Let's go ahead. First thing that I want to do is I want to show you guys Congress.gov. And before I show you this, I want to give a couple of shout outs. So shout out to R-Rod. R-Rod sent me an email saying, look, although, because he sent me an email prior to that saying he was a little concerned. I was telling him I was concerned as well. The last video that I posted, I was telling you I'm a little concerned. And the fact that President Biden hadn't signed it yet was raising an eyebrow to me. I was just, I'm never comfortable when it comes to politicians doing things, because we know they like to wait until the last minute, and sometimes they wait until the last minute and they actually don't do what they say they were going to do. So they're still concerned. Even now, there's still a little concern about signing this proposal, but I feel much better now, and a lot of that has to do with you guys. So in this situation, R-Rod let me know, and then we had other people in the comments, and you guys were saying the reason that he hasn't signed it yet is because it hasn't been presented to him. I didn't even really think about that. You're kind of thinking automatic, okay, the Senate passes the bill, and then the House will present it to the president soon after that. Well, it took a week. It took, 6 days for them to present it to the president. Now, obviously, we have the holiday, and so that played a role, I'm sure. But let me just show you. If you go to congress.gov, and all you really need to do is just type in, like a Google search, just say congress.gov HR 82. That's what you should type in a Google search, and it'll bring this up. That way you don't have to search on here. But if you do want to search on here, all you need to do is go up to the top there, and then you can just type in HR 82, and then it'll show you this information here. So what we want to do is we want to see the latest actions, okay? And it says right here, latest action, 12/27/2024, presented to president. And then we can click on here. It says all actions, and it gives you a timeline of everything that's happened, okay? And so if we go back, let's say if we go all the way down, I'm just briefly showing you guys this. But if we go down, let's say the 12th here, okay? So they were debating on November 12th. And then here, 11/12 in the House, this motion to suspend rules and pass the bill. So basically, the House passed the bill on November 12th, okay? 327 to 75. And we went over this already. Now, as we move forward, we get to 2020 or to December 21st. December 21st, this was the vote here in the Senate. It passed 76 to 20. And so from this point, you would expect, okay, at this point, it soon after that should go to the president's desk. Now, and when we looked at some of the different bills that were passed, like we looked at the budget, okay, they needed to pass the budget. Well, they hurried that along because we're looking at a government shutdown if they couldn't rush that to the president. But in this situation, it took a little bit of time for them to present it to the president. And so you see here, right after the vote, then the Senate had the cloture motion. And then the next thing that happened is the Senate sent it back to the House because the House initiated this bill. And so the House votes on it first, they pass it. The Senate votes on it. They vote on the same bill. They don't make any changes to the bill. And then once it's passed in the Senate, then it sends back to the House. And then the House presented it to the president on December 27th, 2024. Okay, so now you're asking yourself, so what happens next? So now let's go into what happens next. Okay, so I created this little timeline for us so we can take a look at this. And please share this with your family and friends, people who are impacted by this. Share this with them. And hopefully this will settle a few nerves, okay? Because like I said, it was raising an eyebrow why he didn't sign it. Well, he couldn't sign it because it wasn't presented to him yet. So we just went over the timeline, so I'll just briefly show you here. So we know the House passed it on November 12th, and then the Senate passed it on December 21st. and then it was presented to the president on December 27th. Okay, so this is where we are in the timeline right now. Now, you're asking yourself, from this point on, it was presented to the president. Now the president has 10 days. So there's a 10-day period. Okay, so the president has a 10 days. And if we look here, I've kind of outlined here so you guys can see exactly what is going to happen. So the Social Security Fairness Act was presented to the president on December 27, 2024. The timeline for this action is as follows. So here are the key dates that we should be looking at. So the 10-day period for the president begins on December 28th. Happens to be my birthday. Great. So that's when it begins. Now, we have to exclude Sundays. So the following days, December 29th and January 5th, they will be excluded from the 10-day calendar that we're looking at. The deadline for action, the 10th day, excluding Sundays, will fall Monday, January 8th, 2025. Okay, so we have that date of January 8th. So the president has until that time to decide if he is going to sign the bill or veto the bill or just disregard the bill and not sign it at all. Okay, so what happens then? So we know President Biden can sign the bill, it becomes law. If the president vetoes the bill, it's returned to Congress, which can attempt to override the veto. So that's the situation where if we're looking at worst case scenario, President Biden would veto the bill, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, we would have heard something already. And I talked about this in my last video. When it comes to politicians, Leader Schumer would not have brought this to the floor of the Senate and voted on it if he didn't talk to the Biden administration first. Because he's going to make sure that the Biden administration, that President Biden is okay with this proposal before bringing it to the floor for a vote. Because he doesn't want to make President Biden look bad, if you want to say it that way, or he doesn't even want to make himself look bad by bringing something to the floor, passing it, then sending it to the president, and then the president vetoes it. He doesn't want that to happen. And so Leader Schumer would not have done this unless he knew that President Biden was on board. Okay, so that, and I talked about that yesterday, that gave me a little bit of comfort, just knowing, okay, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And then one more thing that we have to talk about. Politicians never pass up an opportunity to be politicians, to talk, about political parties and this person's not doing this. Some of the Republicans that voted for this proposal would have been all over the internet, all over media saying, look, President Biden is not going to sign this bill. He hasn't signed this bill. Why hasn't he signed this bill? They would have taken an opportunity to go after President Biden for not signing this bill. But they knew it hadn't been presented to him, so he doesn't have the opportunity to sign the bill. And so that's why you didn't hear any talk. Now, in the future, let's say it moves into close to January 8th, well then yes, we might start hearing some politicians coming out and saying, look, why hasn't he signed the bill yet? Okay, so we still have a little bit of time if we're looking at the 10-day period. Okay, so let's get back to here. And so if he vetoes this, then it will go back to Congress. And if it goes back to Congress, they have to, in the House, you have to have 2/3 vote in the House and 2/3 vote in the Senate. They already have those numbers. Now, the only thing is you're going to have a new Congress coming in. So you're going to have new numbers. And so you might have some Congress people that are opposed to this. And also, we're in a situation where we're carrying over from one Congress to the new Congress. So I don't know exactly how that works. And then when you start looking at the leadership is going to change. The Senate is now going to be led by Senator Thune. And right now it's led by Leader Schumer. So you have a Democrat right now that's leading the Senate. It will change to a Republican that will be leading the Senate. And another thing, and I'll be putting this video out in the future, when it comes to Senator Thune, he voted against the Social Security Fairness Act, believe it or not. So would he even bring it to the Senate floor? because he voted against it. And so, now understand this. This is the worst case scenario. I don't anticipate seeing this happen. I don't anticipate seeing Biden vetoing this. I just don't. Okay. Like I said, it would make no sense at this point for President Biden to veto this. I know that Leader Schumer communicated with the White House prior to passing this bill. So he would have already known. Leader Schumer would have known, look, this is not a good bill. We need to make some changes. And he would have made the appropriate changes and then brought it to the floor and then sent it back to the House so they can vote on it. He would not have voted on it, brought it to the Senate, voted on it, and then sent it to the president without the president being okay with it. So when it comes to President Biden vetoing this, I don't see that happening. But if we're looking at worst case scenario and President Biden vetoes this, then yes, we would be looking at new leadership in the Senate. And new leadership in the Senate could mean that, like I said, Senator Thune, Leader Thune could say, no, we're not bringing this to the floor, so it's not going for a vote. So as far as if he vetoes it, they need a 2/3 vote. We're not going to bring it to the floor for the 2/3 vote. He can do that, right? Now they can do, I don't even know how they could work around it, I guess, some type of discharge petition in the Senate. I don't know. But let's get back. Okay, so if he takes no action and Congress is in session, the bill automatically becomes law. Now, good news is Congress will be in session. Okay, so we were thinking, okay, well, over the holidays, Congress is not going to be in session. Well, they will return by this time. And so they will be in session. And so if he does nothing, he doesn't sign it, then it just becomes law. Okay, now, if he takes no action and Congress adjourns during this period, the bill is subject to a pocket veto and does not become law. Okay, so this right here is taken off the table at this point because we know Congress will be in session. Now, and even if we were in a situation where Congress wasn't in session, both leaders in Congress, so Leader Schumer and Speaker Johnson, can just call a special session and say, okay, we're going to come back. Everybody's coming back, and just for one day, and they don't even have to go to work. If you want to look at it that way, they could just say, okay, we've all returned, and now we're here, and we can accept the fact that President Biden didn't sign off on this, so we're here, and the bill will go ahead and pass. So they can do that. So the fact, this whole being adjourned, that's not going to be an issue in this situation. So if the president does choose not to sign it, Congress will be in session. If he waits until the Congress returns, which looks like that's probably what's going to happen, he'll wait until Congress returns and then he'll go ahead and sign the bill, or he'll veto the bill, or he just won't sign the bill and then just allow the bill to become law. And so that's where we are right now. Just wanted to give you guys all the information that we have so far. And hopefully we will get some more information next week. And when it comes down to it, we will start really focusing on when is this going to be rolled out? When are we going to start seeing the increases? When are we going to start seeing the retroactive check? How is that going to be issued out? All of that stuff. And so make sure you guys subscribe and hit that little bell notification. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you guys also comment in the comments below. And if you have any more information, any more details, you can email me at david@travelexploreclick, or you can just put it in the comments. So that's all I have. Subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.